What do you think? So obviously people would want to shoot at them, but what do you think a plausible punishment could be, one that could actually happen? Because obviously we all want them to burn in hell. The electric chair would be great for some of them, because the thing is, we don't want to think about it, man. We don't want to think about it, Todd. But they're ruining kids' lives. I have known people that it's happened to, and like when they have sex as adults, it's hard for them, and just they get triggered. You have PTSD. We don't want to think about it, but it's just like, it's awful. So what do you think like a plausible thing could be? I think like we need to have just a prison for all of them and just keep them in there for life. Because the worst thing that happens, bro, the worst thing that happens is they get out early, because then they say, oh, they're behaving well in jail. Of course they're going to behave well in jail. They want to be out of there. But the thing is, the thing is, if we were to prosecute in a hard way, it would possibly quit happening. Because what happens, bro, this happened in Sacramento. Some dude was like, he like pulled down his pants or whatever, and he went to jail for 8 years. They let him go, and then he did it right when he got out. A lot of times they claim, oh, we're going to take him to rehab. There's no fixing it. It's unfortunate, but it's uncurable, and it's unfortunate, but there's no fixing that.
Once that mind is broken like that, it's broken. You're not gonna fix it, man.
And then what I'm sick of hearing, bro, what drives me nuts, and they also said this about the piece of garbage who shot up this school in Texas. I'm sick of hearing the defense. I'm sick of this. Did you hear me say sick? I'm sick of hearing, well, they were made fun of, I'm sick of hearing, well, they were touched, or they were made fun of growing up. I wasn't touched, but I was made fun of, and I would like to say I'm a good enough person. Like, I'm tired of hearing, oh, well, that happened to them. Well, no, sorry. That doesn't mean you can do it. It's ridiculous. It's infuriating, because then it's like, yeah.
Kids are more concerned about being best friends with their kids than actual parents. You keep my foot up my kid's butt 24/7. If they get out of line, I put them back in line so that Leo will not have to put them back in line later in life. You know?
Do you teach them morals? Because I grew up Roman Catholic. Now I'm pretty much atheist. Like, I would like to think there's something, but I lean atheist. But the one thing I will say that I liked about growing up religious, and it makes me generous. It makes me a nicer person. Like, there's good parts of religion, but then there's religion that brainwashes people, like the Duggars. So for you, man, would you say you're religious? How do you teach morals to your kid?
I'm religious. I teach my kids to just be good people. Treat people the way you want to be treated. Respect, look someone in the eye, handshake. Everything is, you've got to be a good person.
I appreciate that, man. And I like hearing that, because I feel like people are afraid to teach morals because they're afraid that it's going to lean religious. And I think this next generation, all the millennials that aren't having kids until they're probably 40, that's what I predict is going to happen, that we're all going to wait. And I think we're going to be a different generation. We're not going to be going to church, but I definitely think we'll be doing a lot of like manifest and law of attraction, what I believe in. And people tease me for it. But I'm saying, I think there's going to be a lot more people that are spiritual and living in the moment. And if I have kids, that's what I'll teach them, because I don't need them to go to church, man. I'm good with that. I missed so much football. Because of church. Well, do you notice, like, the people that are here's what was awkward for me at church, and maybe it was me projecting, but here was what I always was so confused about when I went to church, was that they're claiming to be holier than, and I'm not bashing religion. You can believe in whatever you want. This is more about the behavior of some people. This has nothing to do with religion. As long as you're not hurting anybody, I don't care what you believe in. But I will say the problem with religion is it makes people feel like they're holier than thou. Kind of like the Lovejoy character on The Simpsons, him and his wife. That kind of represents what I had to deal with, where they think they're like better than you, and then they kind of bully you by like ignoring you at church because they get this ego. And I'm like, if God's real, I don't think he wants you walking around like like your crap doesn't smell. It's very weird.
Grew up with, he hung out with the homeless and, and the sick people. And, he wasn't stuck in a church and, with his nose up.
Yeah. I appreciate the call. You've been I don't want to say the previous calls weren't good, but you didn't trash any coworkers and you made 5 minutes of a good point. So thank you, bro. All right. Thanks, dude. 727-579-1025 and 1-800-771-1025. The biggest thing with church was, I don't know. I know it's 2,000 years old, like the Roman Catholic religion or whatever. But the biggest problem was I would go to church at 11:30 in Chicago, Midwest time. So football here begins at 1, NFL football. But football began at noon. And I missed so much football going to church. But it was also a give and take because I grew up a Bears fan. So I missed a lot of the awfulness of Jay Cutler. And if you went to church growing up here the last 7-8 years, you were probably lucky to miss out on Jameis. 727-579-1025 and 1-800-771-1025. I will get to the news clip in a second, but I want to talk to this 937 that's been waiting on hold. Hi. That was the best call of the show. I'm just kidding. Hi, you're on the air. 863.
Oh, hey, what's up? I was going to say the level or the degree of punishment doesn't matter. People are still going to do bad things. What's important is that we incarcerate them and get them off the street.
That's what I'm saying. And it's like we don't want to fix anything. I'm not going to talk about guns. I do not even touch that subject. But it just feels like we don't, and Calta talked about it this morning, we don't know how to address mental health. But here's what infuriates me about America. This is what drives me nuts, is that we don't even try to begin. We just go, oh, it's too tough of a topic. Let's not even talk about it at all.
Just can throw around back and forth.
Yeah.
And get fixed. It's like immigration. There's solutions, but you got to vote for the people who actually care about the solutions.
And a lot of these guys are in their ways, man. A lot of these politicians that are like boomers and late Gen Xers, I just look at them on TV, like let's say Beta O'Rourke, whatever his dumb name is, and you're just like, are you a sociopath? How are you making this about you? I cannot follow politicians or the news because it makes me mad. Because I'm like, why are you so, yeah.
Likes, that's how they promote themselves. And then, of course, the more popular they are, the bigger lobbyists they can attract.
Yes. Well, I agree, sir. Are you going to see Paul McCartney this weekend?
I am not, unless you're going to give me tickets.
I want to go. When Calta was talking about it, I was trying to invite myself by not saying anything. But no, I hope you have a great weekend, my man. All right, thank you. Wow, you called me sir. It's the first time someone called me sir. Usually people call me bud. They're like, hey, bud. I'm like, hey, dude. 727-579-1025. We got about 5 minutes left, so let me play a little bit of this news clip. I appreciate the calls, man. Everybody's doing a great job today. All right.
The Josh Duggar child pornography case is officially closed. On Wednesday, Josh was sentenced to 151 months in prison, and that's nearly 13 years behind bars.
What's weird is the passage of time. So that would be if he was sentenced in 2009, he'd be getting out now. So think about how fast time's gone since 2009. And I'm going to be 29. So when he gets out, but he'll probably get out early. But if he were to serve all 13 years, I would be 42 years old. And like my mom would be 78. Like it's frightening. I don't know if you ever do that, listeners. But like when you think about like a person being sentenced, you think about like people getting older. It's a weird thought.
Today, it's my honor and privilege to join in this announcement of a guilty verdict in the case of United States versus Josh Duggar.
That was just 5 months ago. After the judge reached a verdict, the 34-year-old was found guilty on 2 counts of receiving and possessing child porn.
All right, enough of that. I don't even like hearing that word. The thing that really creeps me out about him is his face. He just has no expression while having a ton of expression. And I don't know if that's a sociopath. And I know I say that word a lot. I've dated a few in the past. It's just when you have no remorse and you think everything revolves around you. And I think the biggest problem with that whole show is it's not that they encourage it, but nobody besides some of the cousins and some of the younger siblings, no one's come out and said, we don't ever want to talk to him again. It's like they're defending their kid. And at some point, I'm not a parent, so I can't relate to the idea of being a parent. But I will tell you, like, I do think sometimes, like, if your kid's accused of something that heinous and that despicable, you should, like, separate yourself a little bit. Like, you don't always need to, like, keep your kid around. Because there was the things that he was touching people when they were teenagers. Like, he's been a bad dude, and they've covered it up. But that seems to be the big problem with a lot of, not religion, but it seems everywhere you're going to find creeps. But that seems to be the problem with religion is, like, a lot of religious people are really good people. My whole family's Roman Catholic. I know people that are all religions, and they're all good people. And there's bad apples everywhere. But it just makes me angry when religious people get caught being creeps. And the whole time they were saying, oh, wait till marriage. Or they're saying, oh, God doesn't want this. God doesn't want that. And then they're out there being creeps. It makes my skin crawl. It makes me angry because then it's like there's nothing you can do about it. So 727-579-1025. We got 2 minutes left. So let me wrap this up. And 1-800-771-1025. Today, make sure you listen at 12, 2, and 5 as the Bone Bonus will be going on. And up next is Roger and JP with Monica and Brett, and then Drew Garabo live, and then a cat named Mo and Johnny B, and then Calta replays begin at 10. So if you missed the show this morning, you can listen on the Bone app, or you can listen at 10 p.m. after Johnny B as the Calta replay will begin. And then it goes into Roger and JP and then best of Mike Calta tomorrow. If you want to hear more of me, because people seem to be surprised that I can speak a coherent sentence, go to every single platform that has a podcast. Spotify, Amazon Music, all of them. I don't want to go through the whole list. And search up Hoppe Radio, Hoppe Radio. My motto is I like to record for the hardworking average Joe and Jane that grind in life, because nobody at the Bone does this, but there's other places in radio where people don't speak to their listeners and they think they're better than their listeners. I adore the listeners. I adore the hate because I'm an Aldi's brand narcissist. Like, I'm kind of a narcissist, but not really. And I love when you're talking about me, so I want to hear from the listeners. Tweet at me at Ryan Hoppe Radio. You can email me, ryanhopperadio@gmail.com. And then let me plug what's going on this weekend. From 5 to 8 a.m., it's Tampa Bay Fishing Radio with Captain Zach. Then it's BTS Mental Health Show from 8 to 9. And then from 9 to 10, from 8 to 9, it's the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. Then 9 to 10 is BTS, the Mental Health Show from 9 to 10. And then it's the weekly checkup from 10 to 11, Miggs and Swig from 11 to 2, and then the hardest working man in the whole wide world, Mike Olivero, with the Mike-O radio show on Saturday from 2 to 4. This has been Hoppe Hour, filling in for Carmen on the Mike Calta After Show. Guess who this is? Signing off, Ryan Hoppe, saying goodbye now. Bye.